going on, football fans? Another 14 game day. I can't wait, and you already know what time it is. Another episode of All Smoke, All 32 with Aaron Givens. Now, to start the episode off, I like to show I have the breast cancer awareness um, band on, and I really would like to shout out all the survivors of breast cancer, and I would like to say rest in peace to all the lovely women that we have lost due to breast cancer. I have known uh, a wonderful professor that also helped me when I was at Utica College, and by the name of Mary Jean, and she passed away straight from Detroit. A real tough woman, real honest woman, real caring woman. And you will always be remembered and missed. Um, I definitely know that some of these things that we go through as humans are tough. So it's glad that the NFL recognizes this and goes through these specific months at the time that these games are played. And so I really, really hope that everybody that is going through with somebody who has breast cancer or going through someone who is celebrating and beating it, just prayers to all of you. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get to the first game. We have another early one in London, starting off at 9:30 Eastern Time. We got the G-Men versus the Cheeseheads. Now, the Packers won the last three games coming against these two guys, and I can honestly tell you that this really looks like it's going to be a landslide. I don't want to take too much time on it. I really, really noticed that the one thing that pops out to me is that the Packers really give up some rushing yards. Um, but they seemingly are a really solid defense overall in knowing how to at least get W's. So I really think Saquon could break a couple. I think they're going to kind of slow him down. And you're going to give me the Packers here in the easy one, 31-17. Next, we have the Bears at the Vikings, a division game. Vikings honestly coming in off of a, I would say, lucky win due to the bounce boink. But hey, it's football. You got to make your field goals, and that 1 yard difference made that difference because he made a 60 yarder prior to missing that 61 yarder. So it's pretty tough. Excuse me, 50 yarder prior to missing the 51 yarder. So it's pretty tough that, the Saints kicker couldn't get it done. But, it's a game of inches. And if you leave it up to your kicker sometimes, that's what happens. But this right here, I could really see the Bears putting up a fight. I really think that this is going to be a real good matchup. The Bears' run defense is just completely horrible. Dalvin Cook is back, so he can definitely stir something up. But if they could find a way to slow him down and put the ball in the game in the hands of Kirk Cousins and just relying on Justin Jefferson, then they can honestly find a way to slow this Vikings team down and find a way to get a W. And that's what I'm going with. Give me the Bears in the upset on the road, 21-20. Next, we have the Titans at the Commanders. Commanders coming in, another loss. Really can't seem to find their rhythm offensively with Wentz. You really want to look at the story that Titans Henry finally coming in off a great run and a great win against the Colts and really finding a way to make sure that he puts his team on his back yet again, being King Henry that he is. Now, Wentz is 0-3 against the Titans, and that's a storyline to look at in itself. But I think when it comes down to the Titans, they know how to let their fans down. They come out and put against good wins, and we got to remember it's against a division team. So it really looks like the Commanders' run defense can be the talk of this game and really put the ball in Tannehill's hand and make him turn over Tannehill. And we get the Commanders at home finally getting another W in a close one, 24-21. Next, we have the only winless team in the NFL, the Texans, going against on the road to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yet another division game. One thing to look at this game is that the Jags have been putting on tape that they can honestly be a team that's coming back to rhythm, and Trevor having a good sophomore year, but we don't want to look too much at the game against the Eagles because of the four fumbles that Trevor had, or we don't really want to look at how the simple fact that they started off well and then they just went flat. We really want to look at how this is a division game and what really this happens between these two teams year in and year out if things are even when it comes down to the players on the roster. There's no crazy superstar talent in between these two teams. They both have young, up and coming rosters that are trying to find ways to build championship teams. They're both still building. They're both still honestly looking like it's going to take another couple years. But I mean, hats off to the Jags. They actually have put some decent wins on, and Texans just can't seem to get in the win column. And I know it says it's finally changed for the past couple of weeks, and this is really hurting my win loss column, but you got to give me my Texans. I really feel that the Jags running back, Robinson, is really one of the most underrated running backs in the league, if not the most underrated running back in the league. But I just think that we find ways to stay in games. And with this Jacksonville team, we can finally get a W in the division and still be kind of in the limbo for first place, being that we tied with the Colts. So give me the Texans and a close one, 26-24. Next, we have the Seahawks at the Saints. I think with Kamara finally being able to come back after not being able to show up and was a difference maker in that game and that loss to the Vikings, and also Murray going ahead and stepping up for him and honestly putting on a nice little show and keeping the Saints in that game in London. I really feel that the Seahawks are just not going to be able to keep up with the attack of being able to have a successful run game and having Andy Dalton to have open guys down the field and be precise. And we might see a little mix of the young red rifle in a prime. So go ahead and give me the Saints in this one at home, 31-28. Next, we have another division game with the Falcons at the Bucks. Brady coming off of a tough loss. I know that people are not showing up to practice and things happen, but we have to remember there wasn't that many people that showed up to practice in preseasons and whatnot. And Brady was gone, but they came up and put a couple of scores and they beat the Cowboys soundly. And you know, when you have a team that has some type of rhythm and has some type of chemistry when it comes down to being vets and being struck together, you can somehow look at another team and maybe in the NFL take them lightly. You know, and I think in every level of football, some, you know, team can take a team one week lightly and they lose. That's why we get upsets. And I just don't see this Falcons team coming in and be able to match up with what star power they have left available playing. And I just feel the Bucks are going to come out swinging and they're going to really be able to bounce back on the win wagon. So give me the Bucks in the blowout, 42-21. Next, we have another division game, Dolphins at the Jets. We have the Kyle Shanahan battle, both his offensive coordinator and his defensive coordinator, and Mike McDaniel and Robert Saleh are in this, and this is going to be a nice little game. Now, I honestly feel if Tua was playing, it would be clear cut. I don't even want to get talk mud about it. It would be just straight Dolphins. But the simple fact that the Dolphins show under Saleh that they actually have a team that will listen and that will rally around their coach and do what they're asked, because when you have good coaching and you play your assignments, good things happen. They played their assignments, they got interceptions, they made the Pickett Trubisky quarterback tandem just not be able to get on rhythm enough to get the win. And I really feel that's just not going to happen with the Dolphins. Teddy Bridgewater coming in, you have to understand that he's played this role before. He's accepted this role. It's at first with some quarterbacks, it takes a minute to accept a role when you come from starting to then being a backup. But Teddy has done with this the Saints, and he came well with the Saints. And I think that this young coach in McDaniels is really doing what he needs to do to keep his team on a winning path and keep them trusting his system. I know Teddy was a little shaky, but he came in off of might have not been short notice, in the sense where he might have known that that was a possibility due to the last week injury. But he stays ready. He's going to be ready. Give me the Dolphins 24-23. Next, we have the Steelers at Bills. I really think this is going to be an ugly game. I really think that Mike Tomlin throughout the season is going to find ways to get a couple wins, but this is just going to be a back-to-back loss for him. I don't see, even with Poyer out and still having White out, it's going to be tough. And I really think that when we all look at this game, we're going to know and understand why the Bills have only one loss through the division. So give me the Bills 42-21. Next, we have the Lions at the Pats. And I can honestly say Matt Patricia coming back, he's not too happy. The Lions are not too happy. Probably going to get some boos, when it comes down to the little Lions fans that are going to be in the crowd. They're going to probably travel decent, and because they do have a decent team this year. Shout out to the Lions for finally putting a team out there that competes and does well. And Swift still not being able to play and play the running back position, and the backup even being shaky. I really see the Pats, the way that they're showing is clicking again and being well coached up by the vet and Belichick. We're looking at an honest blowout, 38-10 Pats. Next, we have the Chargers at the Browns. Garrett's back. Clowney's back. Chargers honestly finding out and picking it back up. Glad to see Herbert out there, and never want to see a player hurt and banged up. And, he did well against the Texans, leading us to another loss, but leading his team yet to another win and getting them back on track. I really feel the Browns can find a way to win this game simply because Chubb is going to run. The fact that Dameon Pierce had a breakout game against the Chargers in a weak run defense on a back that really never is a toss back. And for him to take a toss and just crack and run 75 yards down the field really tells me that Chubb could do the same, if not better. So you really have to understand, with their defense being able to be kind of sound again, with their rush coming and being able to be at home and get the Brownies right on their side, you really got to know that it's going to be a tough one for the Chargers. Give me the Browns in a close one, 34-28. Next, we have the 49ers at Panthers. Another yet division game, and I honestly don't see how the Panthers could win this game. 49ers coming off of a good win with the Rams and a Monday night matchup, and they're coming hot and they're ready to show everybody that they can beat these teams that they know that they beat last year and got themselves into the position. They basically have the same team. Jimmy G got put in the situation back and he's playing well, and I just really know that Debo is going to break out here. Let alone his last game, Debo's just getting started. He got his money. He's going hard. And I really feel that the 49ers are going to put on a show. Give me the 49ers 24-17. Next, we have the Eagles at Cardinals. everybody kind of saying, oh, Cardinals got their little niche back. They're showing a little here. J.J. Watt doing this. Pretty soon, DeAndre Hopkins will be back on the squad. But the Eagles are showing that they're one of the most complete teams in the NFL. People are in the next man up mentality always through from week 1 to week 17 on to the postseason and into the Super Bowl. But you have to understand that these type of players that are stepping up for the Eagles, they're playing like starters. And it's really impressive how they're able to keep this mindset and go hard and be the only undefeated team left in the NFL. Looking at the history of these two teams, Arizona honestly knows how to get it done. Recently, in the past couple of games, they are 3-2 against the Eagles. And I really think that some teams just slip up and they find ways to lose games that they should win. And unfortunately, this is the first time the Eagles take a loss, and I have the Cardinals winning in an exciting one, 38-35. Next, we have the Cowboys at the Rams. Cooper Rush still getting it done. And the Rams kind of looking shaky yet again against the 49ers. But I honestly feel that both of these teams coming off division games and really looking at what they do outside of the division, that's what you really, really have to look at the most. And I real feel that the Cowboys and their pass rush is one, but I think the Rams can finally get a run game going against the Cowboys and be able to slow that down and put them in better situations to do more of play action and get the Triple Crown winner more open, less frustrated, in which that even though he has great games and they come out losses, it's not happening this time. I really feel the Cowboys finally come back down, and even if Dak Prescott plays this week, I really feel that it's just not going to be enough and to change and what the Rams can do at home and needing a win. Give me the Rams in a blowout, 28-10. Next, you have the Bengals at the Ravens, a great Sunday night matchup. I really, really feel that this game is really going to come down to one thing and one thing only. If Lamar really wants this back, you have to understand that this is a division game. He really came off of a really, really heartbreaking loss to the Bills, but we really know that he wants this money. The fact that this young man coming from college, being with his mom, representing himself as an agent, there's nothing to it but to do it. There's no more talking. There's no more negotiating. There's no more showing what we have done in the past. They want to see if this is the guy that they can trust to win a Super Bowl and pay the bag to do it a couple times. And I think, honestly, finally, through and through, this is the guy. He's throwing passes that I have not seen him complete before. He's really taking the time to make sure that his receivers and his tight ends are being on the same page. He's running the ball more carefully and definitely protecting himself like Lamar has been. And I really, really feel that Lamar is going to get this bag. Give me the Ravens in an exciting one, 26-23. That's all I have for this episode of All Smoke, All 32. And I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow for my Monday night pit. See ya.